YouTube, Erin here again, and I thought I'd sit down with you today to kind of document out my health and wellness journey and just kind of let you know what factors have played a role in my life at this point and what's kind of gotten me to where I'm at now. I am somebody who is now on a completely keto-based diet, but I definitely didn't start that way. I grew up with a very traditional American diet following the food pyramid, and I didn't really have any education regarding nutrition. So when I went to college, like a lot of people, I gained weight. There were just too many options, parties, and would eat way too late and didn't focus on exercising. I definitely didn't manage my stress, and that had huge effects on my body. It's just kind of all that culmination of not knowing what you're supposed to be doing and not doing it, and then all of the different varieties of things that come in to you during that time period. And I kind of just didn't care. I was too focused on kind of having a good time and just kind of experiencing things. And by the time I got to my senior year, I had gained I had gained over 60 pounds, and so I wish it was only 20 pounds. And so I needed to be focused on, trying to get rid of that weight. And so during my senior year, I kind of started being more educated and focusing on what I needed to do to take care of myself. And I did it the worst possible way. When I went out into the world to kind of research what a diet was and how to lose weight, I just came across, calorie restricting. And so I continued to eat bad foods. I continued to eat very heavily processed foods, but I would just put them in like 100-calorie snack packs. And I switched from drinking regular soda to diet soda, and I figured, this is enough. I will restrict, and through this, I'm restricting to, we'll go with 1,000 calories a day. That seems like a good, deficit, and I'll lose the weight fast. And over that year, I lost the 60 pounds, and I felt really great. Well, no, I'm sorry. I want to be super accurate. I probably lost 55 pounds. So not all the weight, but most of the weight. And it worked, but by the time I graduated, I looked like crap. I was, really malnourished. Doing that kind of diet, I was really not bringing in any kind of fresh fruits, vegetables. I was just really eating just 100 calories at a time of garbage. And I lost weight, but I was miserable. So I went out into the world, I started my life, and I realized that I couldn't keep going eating and being this way, and I really needed to educate myself. And so one lonely Saturday afternoon in my first apartment, I was watching VH1, and they were doing some sort of sad celebrity diet show, and one of the diets that popped up was the raw food diet. And so I thought, why not? I'll try that. That sounds great. That's vegetables, that's fruits, that's, eating things that are really clean and healthy. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I did that, and I did it for a few months, and I found it to be completely unsustainable for me. I missed meats. I missed dairy. I missed all the things that I really wanted to have. And, you couldn't really truly eat them based on what the raw food protocol was. So a couple months into that, definitely done with that. But it taught me about adding fresh fruits, adding fresh vegetables, eating your meals prepared at home, not going after things that are processed. So that was a really great education, and has kind of carried forward into my different diets and different things that I'm doing. So I switched from that to what I will call the Lady Fit diet, which is essentially the diet that you would see in any kind of health magazine, or any of that kind of eat low fat, eat these certain types of carbs, and then you just eat lots of vegetables, but all of your meals will be approximately 300 to 400 calories, and you'll eat a bunch of meals throughout the day, plan snacks, all of that. And that worked. So I would say between the switching to raw and then switching to that, I probably lost the additional 5 pounds that I needed to in order to get back to my pre-college weight. and I was super happy. I felt amazing, but I also felt really kind of unnourished still, and kind of confused. I felt hungry all the time. Obviously, I'm on a keto diet. I know why I was hungry, but you know, it still wasn't working. It still didn't feel sustainable. It still felt like I was just doing a long-term diet, and so I didn't want to live that way. I don't want to feel like I'm forever on a diet, and it was just bleh. And so that just was not working for me. But around the same time, I met my husband, and you know what? He was somebody who was also focused on eating as much real food as possible, not eating processed foods. He got me really hooked into organic foods, and then we did the thing where, and I did the thing where, you know, we're eating the same things, we're eating super healthy, so like obviously, you know, I can eat the same amount of food that you eat. And no, I'm a 5'2" small woman, and he's a 6'2" grown man. So no, I cannot eat the same amount of food that you eat. And so we also kind of did what I would say was a little bit more comfortable eating, where, you know, about 65% of the meals and calories that we were taking in during a day were really clean, they were really great. But you know, throughout the week there would be times where we'd order in a pizza, or you know, we were still eating grains. And so it just, you know, that combined with the fact that I was eating, you know, plate for plate the exact same stuff that he was eating, I gained weight. So that kind of reminded me that, you know, for my body I need to be somewhat mindful about how much I'm bringing in, and within that how much, what the composition of that is. What I mean by that is, you know, how does this macro play with that macro? Do they play nice? Do they play bad? You need to kind of review that as you put stuff into your body. So I gained weight during that period. When I got back to my like high school weight, to you know, kind of courting and falling in love with my husband, I gained probably about 30 pounds. So that was not ideal. And, you know, I was unhappy, but, you know, I kind of just didn't realize that, you know, yes, you're eating tons of healthy things, but you have to be mindful about how you're eating them and what combinations you're eating them in. And you can't eat as much as a 6'2" man. Like, that's just not going to work for your body. So, you know, I gained weight, and I was heavier at my wedding than, you know, my dream fairy princess, you know, idea would have had me be. But, you know, I walked down that aisle, and I walked down that aisle to a man that never once said anything about my body during that time, didn't make me feel bad about it, you know, didn't make me feel unloved or undesired. And so, like, I knew, like, I was marrying the right person, and we were getting married because we were, you know, good friends, and we had a great foundation. And so that, I think, is all you can really truly hope for. I have zero regrets. I don't look and think like, God, you know, now that I'm thinner than I am then, I really wish we could just get married again. Like, no, like that day was, you know, very special. And you know, nothing about me physically could take anything away from that. And so we were married, and then within a couple months we got pregnant. So there was another like big, great life event that I was super excited about, but definitely played a role in me kind of getting to that optimal health. And so I had to kind of just sit back. I didn't really know what pregnancy was going to be like. I didn't know what to expect. And if I was hungry, I ate. If I wasn't hungry, I was probably throwing up. So I just kind of went for the ride on that one. During that pregnancy, I found out that I was severely iron deficient. And I kind of blame this on the fact that, you know, I went on a very extreme diet prior, and I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't feeding myself. The diets I did after that were not really focused on, you know, getting iron back into my body. So I, you know, really had a low amount, but it was functional, I think, at that time, because I wasn't, you know, I wasn't making a baby in my body. That really hit me hard, and it took probably a good 2 years after the baby was born in order to kind of fix that. I was lucky that after our child was born, I got back to my wedding day weight pretty quickly. And then shortly after, we kind of talked about, just getting back on our health track. So we decided to do a candida cleanse, and that really, definitely helped and healed up, different things in my body, and I was feeling really, really great. And I had lost weight. I was probably, 5-7 pounds heavier than I was, kind of when I met my husband, or at that high school weight. So that, that really worked, but it was a cleanse. And so literally, that's not a sustainable diet. It's not what you lose on that. You have to be very mindful getting off of a cleanse and how to maintain that. And, I wasn't really mindful of that. I just felt like, whoo, all these amazing health benefits. But during that cleanse, I still hadn't really completely healed my iron deficiency. And so, our child was probably about 6-7 months at this point. And I still wasn't healed. And so we started to incorporate things back in. We were still eating some processed foods at this time. We weren't completely 100% clean. And at this point, I had probably become a little bit more aware of the fact that, I can't eat plate for plate what my husband eats. And so I need to be kind of mindful of that. And right around the time that our child was about 16-18 months old, so a year and a half, I started to experience severe fatigue. I mean, to the point where I would spend almost an entire Saturday and Sunday just sleeping, because I was so exhausted from going to work and doing things throughout the week that I was just so worn down that all I wanted to do was sleep. And I didn't know this at the time, but that was still an ongoing symptom from being so severely iron deficient. And it took about 2 years to heal, and that was just basically because I was so unaware. I wasn't going in and getting my iron levels tested because I wasn't pregnant, so I just didn't know. But looking back on it, every single thing that was going on, kind of being exhausted, the way my face was looking, and I had kind of gained some of the weight back from doing the cleanse, because I just wasn't being mindful. And I by the time our child was 2.5, I started to do things like Insanity and different beach body workouts, and they just weren't working. I was getting strong, I was definitely getting muscle, and I was getting faster at running and jumping and doing various different things, but I didn't lose a single pound. And I was, eating within a deficit, but I was still just not eating the right combination of food for my body. And it took a while to kind of realize that that's what I was doing. So then shortly after this, we became pregnant again, and we had our second child. And in that pregnancy, I was a little bit more aware of being mindful of what I was consuming. And I only gained about 20 pounds. So my first pregnancy, I gained 35 pounds. And my second pregnancy, I gained about 20 pounds. After that pregnancy, I lost the weight pretty quickly that I had gained. But I wanted to get past that kind of weight that I was at to, I wanted to get back to that kind of high school number. That was kind of my ideal number, because it's I had been there before, I know I can get there, and you know what, I'm done having children, and so why not get there. And again, with this second pregnancy, I became iron deficient again, and so I kind of realized that yes, you have these goals, but you need to actually take time and work on this, because it was really hard after the first one. And so I took about 6 months, and I got to the point where I felt good. I felt great. I got my diet in check, and then I began losing weight. And I did, I worked out 6 days a week. I was going totally crazy. I was, eating we had switched to a grain-free, gluten-free kind of diet. Well, mostly grain-free, basically just eliminating corn diet. And we were increasing our fats at this time. my husband had become influenced by Dave Asprey and the Bulletproof Diet, so we started to incorporate some ideas from that. I got to the point where I was feeling amazing, and I got to that weight, that ideal weight that I wanted to. And then another life event happened, and I'm not going to go into details with this one because it's a little bit more personal, but basically something happened which caused our family to kind of have to move, which put a lot of, stress. We had to sell a house, buy a house, and during that time I stopped working out 6 days a week because I had to get a house ready to move, put it on the market and do kind of all that kind of stuff, just crazy and stressful, especially when you have 2 kids. And I ended up gaining weight. I ended up getting to a point where I was just over kind of what the healthy range is for my height. I just got outside of that, and so I just kind of accepted it and knew that I had to get past kind of the bad situation. So as soon as we got stabilized again, we kind of got our diet back on track. I started to work out a little bit more again. But my husband and I kind of stepped back and kind of said, like, well, what do you want to do with our diet? Like, we've gotten to this point where we're so close to being on a keto-based diet. Is this something you want to do? And, at that point, we were both having moments where we're like, I feel like I'm just kind of like tiptoeing on getting into ketosis. Like, I can feel the possibility of like the keto flu starting. And so, we had been aware of keto diets, and just kind of decided to go for it. And so at the beginning of this year, so 2017, we took about a week to kind of transition slowly into being in a keto-based diet, and then we did it and went through the keto flu, and we both feel like we're completely adapted now. And during this time, I've lost 7.5, almost 8 pounds, and it's been about 7 weeks. So it feels pretty darn good to be at that kind of weight, at that amount, and I couldn't be happier about it. I'm back within kind of my healthy range, and I'm still seeing a lot of progress. Just because I'm within that range doesn't mean I'm limiting myself to that at this time. I feel like I finally found something that's completely sustainable, and something that even if a life event happens, I can just continue to do. It's not a diet, it's not a quick fix, it's not something that I feel uneducated about. I feel like there's a lot of support out there, and even if something is happening within myself, I feel the ability that I could reach out to others who are going through the same thing. So this just feels like the right thing at the right time, and I couldn't be happier about it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And like I said, I've lost about 7.5 pounds since I've become keto, but I've noticed a massive change in my body. I took one photo right after Christmas, and then the most recent photo was when I hit about the 6-week mark. And so I've probably had a little bit of a additional change in the last few days, but like realistically, like it's pretty accurate to what I look like right now. It's kind of hard to post photos like that, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, I feel like it's, it was what it was, and it is what it is now. And I feel like that gives a really great example to you about, where I was at and where I'm at now. And like literally, I'm 5'2", so like when it's like that much weight, like that much difference for just 7.5 pounds, like it kind of shows you that people have different bodies, and weight hangs on them differently. It goes to different places. It's been my success so far, and I'm pretty happy about it. And that's kind of what's been the motivator to put this out there and to kind of go forward with this channel. I hope that you have gotten a very good sense of who I am, what I'm about, what kind of journey I've been on, and what's kind of influenced me to this point. I'm going to do a separate video kind of detailing out what kind of keto person I am. I feel like that will give you a better idea of kind of what I'm doing, what kind of diet I'm on. within the keto realm, but I think it's important to know where I came from too, and what's kind of been a factor, been an issue, been a obstructor in the past. So if you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them below. And if you've liked this video, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. That really lets me know that I'm connecting with other people, and that I'm spreading a message that makes them feel positive. So that being said, I hope you have a great day. I hope you're well. I hope whatever you're doing and whatever kind of journey you personally are on, that you're finding success in that. And until next time, I hope you all take care. Bye.